All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Game Drain. It's just me and Mike this week. Honestly, we don't know where Twan's at, so so we apologize for that. But me and Mike are gonna have a conversation regardless. So, Mike, start us off. What have you been playing? What have you been playing this week? The
Well,
past few weeks,
well,
honestly, because we haven't had a show
yeah, we
for a
haven't been here
while.
for a while. First of all, I'm gonna start it off with the obvious. We've been playing an absolute insane amount of the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like a genuinely crazy amount of that game.
On the
That
screen
game's
right now.
fantastic. As much as that game makes me very upset at times, that game is fantastic. Yeah, that's a word. Fantastic. And I think that game has a bright future ahead of it, especially if they, kind of address some of my more, outstanding issues when it comes to balancing. But
Hmm.
as it stands, I am having a ton of fun with that game. Other than that, I've been playing a ton, and I mean an absolute absurd amount of I just heard myself while opening up the stream. That was scary. An absurd amount of Doom mods and custom Doom game mods, stuff like that, user made content. There's just an entire world of games out there I have not played on the GZ Doom engine. The stuff people have made, it's essentially not even Doom anymore, but it's made on the Doom engine. Um, it's really impressive what some people have made. Also, outside of that, I've been still playing plenty of Blood. I'm genuinely surprised how much that game has stayed in my rotation. Some days more than others. But outside of that, I'm really trying to think of what else I've been playing. Um, Man, what have I
It's
also
all
been
good.
playing? I feel like that's okay. That game, I have never been more unhappy playing a game when I'm playing. And it's like I know I'm good at the game. It's like I can't sweat every time I play. You know what I mean? Like that just can't.
Hey,
It's just not. It's not good for me. So I think I'm done for a while. Or good. Not good for me to be that angry 24/7. I'm having more fun with the finals, even though I get pissed off a lot. I mean, I feel like that's more so things that I don't feel like I'm getting fucked over with the game rather than I don't know. I find the things I get mad at more in the finals a bit more easier to stomach rather than I put 12 shots into someone's head and but since he's prone it doesn't count as a headshot. All right, I'm not going to get into it. But
here we
yeah,
go.
here you go, Matt. You got me going. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
I mean, well, finals. A lot of
Yeah.
finals. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. The new Prince of Persia comes out the 18th, and I beat
Nice.
the demo for that. I have it pre-ordered, which I wasn't really even aware of until the other day. But it is pre-ordered. I'll be playing that eventually as well. But right now, I'm going back and playing a lot of the old Prince of Persia games because I never have. So I'm
Oh
playing
yeah.
Sands of Time on PS3, and then I think after that is Warrior Within, and then there's another one on the
I
PS3, and
think
then
you
there's
told me not to.
yeah. What did I tell you?
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Go
I'll
ahead.
I'll I'll say it after.
No, go
No,
ahead.
wait. Pardon.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm about to say, I think if I remember correctly, you told me you didn't realize um that I have the stream playing and the audio is coming in through both ways, so that was freaking me out while I was hearing you two times. Um that you even pre-ordered the game and you didn't realize it.
Yeah, yeah. It's because I had no idea I pre-ordered that game, and it must have been like like way last year sometime, probably when they first showed the game, because that was like when I was most hyped when they first showed it. So if pre-orders went live then, that's when I pre-ordered it, almost certainly.
Yeah.
And I just completely
I remember
forgot
you
about
being
it.
one of the few people I remember you being one of the few people that are like, I don't get why people are shitting on this game. It looks kind of cool to me. I remember
Yeah,
that.
that game looked
Because
really
that game,
really
when it got
cool.
announced, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, people pooped on that game a
Yeah,
lot.
like I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. Go on.
No, you're all right.
Yeah,
People
I don't
like
know why
really
either.
crapped on that. Well, I for what I could see, it was like I thought the first trailer was great, so I don't know why people crapped on that. But like all the other trailers were pretty shit. The game looked really cool,
Yeah.
but like they had like a trailer where it was just like some random rap music that didn't make any sense for the game, and they had like a few trailers that were like that,
Yeah.
and people were just kind of confused by it. I think. Also, people
Yeah.
didn't. I don't think
That's
people
that
like the
whole like marketing
protagonist.
crap that kills games.
Yeah, I don't think people like the protagonist either.
Huh.
Something to do with like there's like a thing in gaming where that's like a really just generic hairstyle, and it kind of is. But like people were really shitting on the protagonist for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hyped for that game. I'm very hyped for that game. Uh, Thinking of other things I've been playing. I mean, God, I don't even know. It's really just been finals. It's been a really gross amount of that. And I've honestly watching this, I kind of want to play it. But I guess we should probably get into
We'll
some
play
actual
more after.
topics. Like, yeah, the actual main topic for today is going to be Developer Direct. It is, like I said in the beginning, we don't have Twan here. Ham's doing his own thing right now. So with just me and Mike, it's going to be a shorter show. We honestly know how short, but we wanted to do something to at least talk about Developer Direct because by the time our next show happens, Developer Direct will have come and gone. And of course, we'll be talking about it then with all the things that we know, but we want to do like a little preview of it here before we get to that on Thursday. So that's the main topic today. So we're going to start with Developer Direct coming this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Almost said Central Pacific time.
Mhm.
And it's 4 games, confirmed games that we know about. People are speculating there's a fifth game that we don't know about, maybe a surprise of some sort. We will see. But the 4 games we know that will be there is Art History Untold, Avowed, Hellblade 2, and then obviously we're going to be getting. Oh my God, why can't I think of it? Why can't I think of it? Indiana Jones. Oh my God. Hello.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
What?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know
What
what's going
happened?
on. I'm not entirely sure if the stream's up anymore.
Uh,
Ah, it's annoying.
Let me take a look. Testing, testing.
It says YouTube is not
No,
responding.
it's still up.
Is it like is the audio good? Is it clear? Or is the is the stream dropping a bunch of
Yeah,
frames?
everything's good.
Even like the video?
No, it looks fine to me.
I'm gonna bring it up on my end, but that's weird because
Even the video, it looks fine
OBS
to
is
me.
freaking out for me. But if it's working on your
You need
end,
that new CPU, dude. Like, you fucking needed that shit yesterday.
but it's so weird because, dude, I stream all the time, and it's like only the last like week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever. It's been terrible, and I don't know why. Let's close some of this
Yeah.
stuff out, dude. It's still tweaking for me. I don't know what's going. This is nuts.
Yeah, like I can hear us just fine on the.
I'm gonna open it on my phone, but yeah,
uh
starting with the developer direct. Well, if it's audible, then we'll just keep talking. Uh, the developer direct,
yeah,
the big game. I mean, for different people, the big game is a different thing. I mean, Avowed would be my most anticipated game of this year. But
absolutely.
I think the biggest game there, like unanimously, like subjectively or objectively, would be Indiana Jones, and
Oh yeah.
that would be the biggest surprise as well, considering the fact that I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I knew Indiana Jones was coming, but I kind of forgot about it, and I
I
sure as
wasn't
shit
thinking like
was.
this.
As yeah, I sure as hell wasn't expecting to hear about it this this year.
Right?
Honestly,
and and like all the people like in industry. I hate saying this, but industry insiders or the people in the know are like, it's a lot sooner than you think. And I'm
Yeah,
like, excuse me. I'm like,
yeah.
and
Shinobi was saying that.
so it's like I think that's a release this year.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's.
People are saying,
I'm sorry.
go
I'm
on.
sorry. I was
Sorry.
saying that's a release this year based entirely on the fact that it's in developer direct. I don't think Xbox is putting anything
Yeah,
in their developer direct unless, like, obviously you can't foresee the future and everything, but like I'm assuming everything there releases this year, according like if all things
yeah.
go according to plan. But yeah, continue.
No, that's just like the thing. It's like, and it honestly took me by surprise because I didn't know how long this game has been in development for.
Yeah,
Like I
that's a good
thought,
question.
like, the because I thought the ink was like signed, and they just threw that trailer together right away. This makes me think they might have been working on this for a little while longer than that. You know what I mean? How they like will make a trailer, but we're working on it. It just started, but we're working on it. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah,
tells me it's been longer than that. Um, I don't know by
yeah,
how much, but and that to me is pretty exciting. I really don't know when to expect it's coming out. I'm just excited to find out is it first or third person. I mean, I'm gonna play it regardless. It's Indiana Jones. He's our favorite. I mean, what the hell? I mean, what the hell can you even consider him at this point? I mean, if you've seen freaking Temple of Doom, he's like everything at this point. I love Temple of Doom.
he's
That movie gets way too
he's a
much hate. Anyways,
superhero.
sorry. Um, he's a
He's
superhero.
my Spider
I'm
Man.
just excited to be shooting bad guys.
Yeah,
He's your Spider-Man.
he's the
Um,
real Spider Man.
he better have they better have the line Nazis. I hate those guys because that's like one of my favorite. That's funniest fucking lines from that movie because it's just so nonchalant when he's getting chased. I believe that was in the third one. I can't remember its name right now. I'm terrible remembering movie names.
Oh, I have
But
no
Last
idea.
Crusade.
Okay.
I'm really excited though. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
do
really
you like Indiana Jones?
I've never gotten into any Indiana Jones, but that's just because I didn't grow up like watching. My dad never showed me any of the movies. I didn't
Oh,
like
okay.
seek them out or anything. I played um I played the
Mhm.
game on the original Xbox. I thought that was really cool. But that's about all of my
Oh, I've
knowledge
never
of
played
Indiana
that.
Jones. It's backwards compatible. I know that
Yeah.
much. I don't. But yeah, that's my knowledge of Indiana Jones. But I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this, simply for the fact that it is Machine Games, and I think Machine Games is very, very, very underrated. And as far
Mhm.
as what you were saying, how we don't know how long they've been working on this, and that's true. We really don't. But like, I think it's safe to assume. I mean, if it's coming out this year, and we did go through a pandemic, like a worldwide pandemic, if it's coming out this year, I think that must have been in development since soon after. Maybe not. Well, maybe not soon after, but at least relatively close to Wolfenstein 2 or Youngblood, because Machine Games was also
Yeah. I
yeah Youngblood maybe because that was 2018 or 2019. So
that
I
this is also the thing where like I'm sure we could probably find an answer. You know how people like fucking they go on these what do they call it? Not what's the job searching website? What's that
oh
LinkedIn? And they
LinkedIn,
search they scrub through, all these profiles and they figure it out and they find it's been made on the third day of March of the under the sun of the moon of the they freaking find out everything just by
yeah,
like searching somebody's profile. Um,
yep,
you know what I mean? They found out what they had for breakfast and everything like that. Anyways, but I really wonder when it has started because like I'm pretty sure the information has to be out there, but from my knowledge, I just
sure.
don't know. And it also makes me wonder what's the scope of this game if it was really started working on when they put that trailer out. Um,
See,
because as you know, and as everyone knows at this point, you need more than 3 years
yeah,
to make
for
like
for
anything.
for a very big game, and that's the thing. I don't think for Indiana Jones. I think it's safe to assume, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's safe to assume that it's a fairly big game. And I don't mean big as in open world big. I mean like big as in
Mhm.
There's they put a decent budget into this game because it is a Disney IP. First of all,
Yeah.
and then second of all, like I feel like for Xbox specifically, I mean, whenever they came along in the process of this game being in development, whether that was midway through, towards the beginning, or towards the end,
Mhm.
whatever that timetable is, they had to be they had to be pumping money into this, knowing that this is a really important game for Xbox. And you could say it's kind of unfair to Machine Games or Bethesda, say in the same way that it was unfair to Starfield. That's like Starfield's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
game, but it's like the fucking fate of Xbox rests on Starfield, no matter what you or anybody else says. And it's that kind of attitude where it's like,
Yeah, that was insane, dude.
yeah,
Dude, that,
yeah, exactly. And it's like that kind of attitude
yes.
that we're probably gonna see with this game because it's like, well, this it's hard to say that it started with it, but what made this kind of game prominent was something like Tomb Raider. Made it really, really prominent
Mhm.
in the 90s and the 2000s. And then for PlayStation, Uncharted came along and kind of took what Tomb Raider did and ran with it and built on it. And Xbox has never had really that kind of game. Obviously, you know, we're getting Hellblade soon, but
No, yeah.
Hellblade's not
Like
like
especially an IP like this.
exactly a huge IP like this that's known and important to a lot of people. So I feel like this is going to be a big game again, not in terms of like an open world, but just like the budget for this game, the scope for this game. I would imagine it's probably quite big, and who knows? We're gonna find out because I
Yeah.
think they said they're gonna do like a 10 minute deep dive at this developer direct on most of the games, I
Holy shit.
believe. So like we're gonna
That's
see exactly what this is all about come Thursday. Which, by the
I'm gonna
way,
say right now, 2020 Mike is. Oh, go on. You finish sentence.
no, I was gonna say, which by the way, we will be streaming that here on the channel. I know I asked you. Shiv said he wants to be here. Ham said he'll stop by. He does have a show after that though, recapping the show on his channel. So be sure to set reminders for that. Check that out. I want to get Vinny here as well. I would like to get Bill here. Twan's obviously always invited. I want to see how many people we can get to react to this.
Yep.
Definitely.
Same here.
But yeah, we'll definitely be doing that on Thursday. But it's exciting because I do want to see more about this. The whole you mentioned it, third person or first person. I would assume third person. Maybe there's like segments that are first person though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be hard to imagine, not impossible, but hard to imagine a first person Indiana Jones game. You have to like really, really lean into the gunplay, which machine games can do, but like
Oh yeah.
I don't
Is
see
that
them.
necessarily
Yeah,
Indiana Jones?
yeah, I
And
don't
to
see
a
them doing
point,
that.
it kind of is, but like
Yeah,
not
sure, yeah.
100%. But like, yeah, exactly. I don't think they want to make Wolfenstein, but it's Indiana Jones, and I don't want that either. If they want to, have it first person, that's fine. But it's like I also don't want Wolfenstein, but it's Indiana Jones, and I think they don't want that either.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, I think it'll be third person. I'm definitely
mhm.
excited to see because again, making more assumptions. I assume we'll see a date for this.
Mhm.
Especially because you mentioned the insiders teasing like it's coming sooner than we think. If it's coming sooner than we think, I mean, shit, I didn't think it was coming this year. So, I mean, does that mean sooner than we think this year, or does that mean sooner than we think like it might launch before spring? Well, we don't
That's a
know.
good question.
We don't know, and that's a question. That's the main question I have for everything there, honestly,
Mhm.
because like I said, Avowed's my most anticipated game of the year right now. When does that come out? Because also Phil Spencer said he's been on record saying that Hellblade 2 is closer than you think. He said that at the beginning of December.
Shadow drop.
Dude, I had the thought before it went live today. What did he mean by that? What if they dropped?
Yeah,
Like, how that would be the most insane thing maybe ever to shadow drop that game.
yeah.
I don't think
And
they
that's one of the
would.
things too. Yeah. Go on. I'm so sorry, Matt. I keep
No,
cutting
you're
you off.
fine. I was gonna say I don't think they would, based solely on the fact that I think they're very confident in that game. I
Mhm.
remember also seeing the rumors surrounding like internal reviews for that game. I forget who it was who was saying it. Might have been Jez on Xbox too, or Rand. It was one of them. It was Xbox too. We're saying that internally that game they were hearing that that game was reviewing like in the 90s. On their
God damn.
based on their internal reviews. And if that's the case, they're probably I'm watching the gameplay of finals right now and this teammate makes like everything he's doing is making
Yeah,
me
I'm seeing that
upset.
right now.
It's
That guy
nuts.
stunk.
Hey, that is
That
nuts.
guy stunk.
But but if that's but if that's the case, then like oh yeah, I just don't think they'll do that because they're too confident in that game if that's what they're hearing internally to just be
Mhm.
like okay, shadow drop it because they want the reviews, they want the hype from the reviews. I would imagine because if
They
it
do.
comes out if it
Yeah, I think
comes
that
out
game's a bit.
no go ahead.
No, that's one thing too. Is like I'm not saying like Hi-Fi Rush isn't worth like the hyping of for months, but I feel like this is like realistically, Ninja Theory's like first like I feel like real 100% nosedive into AAA.
Yes.
Like I feel like they probably want that hype news cycle, but I
Yeah.
also wouldn't be surprised at the same time they're like, let's just take the gaming world by storm,
Yeah.
and um. But I don't know if it's gonna be a shadow drop. I don't really want to talk exactly like that, but like I could see both ways. Um,
I, I told Ham on Wednesday when we did the 2 player podcast. I told him I think this game, if they announced that it was coming in February, that would not surprise me at all. I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised by that at all because that seems like a perfect game for like winter. It's
yeah,
because
I agree.
it's a really cold setting. I think it takes place in what Iceland or is it Greenland? I can never remember. I can't
It's
remember
somewhere
honestly.
cold as shit.
Yeah, it's cold. It's just cold as shit, and it looks cold as shit. And it would make sense to me that that would be a winter game. And then Ham also said, "Well, what about next winter?" But then Phil Spencer said it's coming sooner than you think. So I'm thinking, well, probably beginning of this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
And
see.
that's
But
fair because like, sooner than you think. I mean like, there was rumors like I remember like listening to when not Jez, Miles used to do his was it Xbox Chatterday? I don't even know if he still does that.
Saturdays, yeah.
Chatterday. I can't remember if that was the exact one he used to do or it was a different one. I'm trying to remember. And he was talking to I think he was actually talking to Colt if I remember. And he was hearing, late 2023 kind of was like like, I'm pretty sure, well, at least what he was thinking was going to be in like late mid 2023. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost be surprised if this game would be pushed toward to next winter. I feel like, you know, if especially if Phil said sooner than you think, and then it comes out in winter, I'm kind of like, all right, what the fuck were you thinking? What do you think we were thinking? This
Yeah.
game's never coming out. Uh, but um, but that's just my take. I'm not gonna pretend like I friggin' can like read Phil Spencer's way of talking. People are like, no, if you look at his lip when he says it, it curled. You know what I mean? Like they think they're like masters at reading people. Um, but yeah, I'm excited regardless, and I'm just excited to get more Xbox news. Um, Even if I'm on my computer, it still benefits me, and I would love to have more reasons to use Game Pass. Not that I don't use it, but I feel like the last few months I've kind of not had many reasons to use Game Pass. And it's not really they've had great games being added, but it's just kind of what I want to be playing. So I'm just kind of waiting for the first party stuff at the moment. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Um, yeah, this
Yeah.
is my take on
Okay. So out of I mean, we still got Avowed to talk about, but out of Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2, which one do you think comes out first?
Oh, fuck. Um, it's funny, like my brain wants to say Hellblade 2, but like a part of me is like that game's a mystery almost. Like I feel like that game could also not exist. Um, you know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that game could easily just not exist. I feel like my brain wants to say Hellblade 2, but a part of me wants to say Indiana Jones just because I don't know. But I can't tell you for sure, man. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm leaning
Okay.
towards Indiana Jones, probably just because of the fact I'm more interested in Indiana Jones. I'm gonna keep it real. Um,
That's fair.
that's that's my take. What about you?
That's entirely fair. Between Hellblade and Indiana Jones, I think Hellblade releases first.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope so,
but
because that
then
game.
again, you know what would be nuts is I could see Indiana Jones being the Shadow Drop. Like and here's the thing,
That'd be
I don't
fucking nuts.
I don't want to see like I don't want to set like the expectation of like oh every year Xbox now needs to shadow drop something because I think that's kind of an
Yeah,
unfair expectation.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the only reason I say that is because the movie already came out. Like your chance
Mhm.
to line it up with the marketing for the movie. I mean, the movie didn't do well in hindsight, but like your
Yeah,
chance to line it up with marketing for the movie as well is gone. Like the movie's been out for months and months and months at this point. There's really no reason for that. Uh, so I could see them shadow dropping that and just being like because it's been in development. We would assume. I mean, I'm assuming that it's been in
yeah.
development for a good long while. We weren't expecting any to hear about this game. Like it seemed like everybody kind of forgot about it, and then it's like the main thing for the show now. And I just feel like I wouldn't be shocked if they shadow dropped Indiana Jones. I don't expect that, but I wouldn't be like totally blindsided
Yeah,
if they did that.
I know what you
Um,
mean.
but yeah, like I think Hellblade comes first. I think Indiana Jones second, and then for the other games like Our History Untold, I don't know too much about that. I'm not going to pretend that I do. Um, but as for Avowed, I would imagine that's like at the end of the year. I've just got a feeling that's at the end of the year, based
That's fair.
entirely on a gut feeling. Um,
I'm
let's
gonna tell you
see.
right now, though.
Yeah,
Right now, I'm way more excited to see more of Avowed than anything else. I'm definitely, I would say, more curious about Indiana Jones because it's. I feel like that game kind of got announced and then we only ever heard about it through the trials. But like, I am so excited to see what Avowed's gonna be. Um,
yeah, I really want
that
to see
was
Avowed.
that was my most excited game announcement back when Xbox did its weird little event thingy. They showed that cinematic. Like I was like, I want whatever the hell this is gonna be, and then I waited and I waited and I waited, thinking
Yep.
it'd show up. I'm gonna see it in 2021. No, okay, I kind of understand. Give him a year. All right, I'm gonna see it in 2022. All right, no, okay, I see it. In the you know what I mean. You go to event to event to event, and you're gonna think you're gonna see it at the Summer Game Fest. You're gonna see it here. You're gonna see it there, and you don't, and you don't, and you don't. And then when I finally saw it, I was almost kind of like, this isn't about, because like I was so used to not seeing it that I kind of like was like taken aback a little bit, and I thought that's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, yeah, I would definitely agree with you. Out of all these games, Avowed is my most like the one I'm most excited for. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that game's at the end of the year, just based off of like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
between those three games, Indiana Jones, Hellblade, and Avowed that we haven't heard, it's coming a lot sooner than you think. Like that's the only one we haven't heard that with, and
Yep.
that makes me believe. Well, if you
Also,
said
they
2024, then I'm thinking September, October, November. I don't know, but not soon, not
hmm,
super soon.
I they also said, when they showed their gameplay reveal, they're like, yeah, like some of the textures, or they said something about the lighting being a bit off, and they're still working on that because they know like people saw a grittier trailer and all that stuff. So yeah, I really think they're going to be hugging the end of the year. Um,
Yeah.
I think they have some, or they're probably ironed out by now, but things they were ironing out that they kind of wanted to make sure was completely nailed down because this is even though the scope of this game is going to be more on the in lines with how the Outer
Outer
Worlds
Worlds
handles
was.
itself, uh, but this is definitely a AAA game. Um,
Yeah.
so it needs to like hit AAA quality, um,
Yes.
or at least whatever the hell that exactly means. So I think that definitely you're right about it hugging the end of the year.
As far as AAA quality, I think I for me personally, AAA quality just means less bugs. That's really the like, and the
Yeah,
thing is,
same here.
it's I didn't. I mean, playing of Outer Worlds at launch, maybe I'm not remembering everything. I don't remember too many bugs in that game. So, if you can ramp the scale up maybe just a little bit, make the hub worlds a little bit bigger, make like, but keep like that amount of bugs or less, then that's AAA. That's AAA to
Mhm.
me, 100%.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah,
And also
that's
like
no. Go ahead.
maybe like there's some remember. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm like all over the place
My
tonight.
God,
But like
you're fine.
but like one thing I remember from Outer Worlds is you remember how they'd be like, oh, we're sitting down at a bar and having a drink, and they're just standing looking at each other like dead in the eyes. You know what I mean? It's stuff like
Yeah,
that. I'm going to assume. It's like I remember what's her name? What's Parvati? They call her
Parvati. Yeah.
Hervati because of the cheese. Um, but there's that scene where you're at that bar and you're like supposed to be having a drink, and apparently she's getting a little drunk, and she just looks the exact same. It's like you read hiccup, and I'm like, it'd be cool to see, and understandable. That game was double A, but
Yes,
like
it
that's
was.
very understandable. That's not me crapping on it. So I'm just saying like there's certain things that like um things that's nice that it's AAA. We're probably going to see animated now. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really looking forward to that. As for I mean, because they said that they're supposed to be doing 10-minute deep dives on these things.
Mhm.
What's I'm just kind of curious on what they show, because I think the way they did it for Starfield was kind of perfect, and I think for Starfield, it's like you can only do that for a game like Starfield because Starfield's so fucking big that even with like a 45-minute deep dive on the game, there was still a ton of stuff in that game that you didn't know anything about at all whatsoever. But like for something on a smaller scale like this, I'm
Yeah,
interested to see what they show versus what they don't show, and like comparing those things whenever the game comes out, because I do like to have kind of an element of surprise. And that's why I
yeah,
got mad whenever PlayStation did their showcase and they ended it with Spider-Man, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. Not because I'm not excited for Spider-Man, but because like they showed the wingsuit. I'm like, I wouldn't have known there was a wingsuit. That would have been a surprise. And then you just showed it to me.
yeah,
Now it's not a surprise in the game anymore. And it's like, obviously I would imagine, Avowed would be not a bigger budget, obviously, but like a bigger setting than just New York. It's multiple different hub worlds. But I'm just interested to see what they show versus what they hold back in the game,
mhm.
or what they hint at whenever they're talking about it, because I think that game, like I saw people crapping on it last time it got shown, and I kind of shocked me honestly because I
Yeah,
thought it looked great. But yeah, like I'm interested to see how much they try to alleviate those concerns of people were like, oh, it looks cartoony. I'm like, well, it's kind of what Outer Worlds look like, just a different game
yeah,
to me. Like I thought that was fine, but like a lot of people had issues with it, and I'm just interested to see, do they try to alleviate some of that concern that people have about it or not? I don't know. But well, I'm sorry, what
Yeah,
were you about to say?
honestly. No, you're just right about that. I just, I'm really excited to see, I want to know more about the whole companion system because they said in this game it's a huge component of it. It's not
Yes.
just they just like that. They
Mm-hmm.
like that. They dislike that. They disapproved. You know what I mean? Like, and it's fine. I don't really care about that. I mean, I never really give a shit what my companions think, anyways. They're just kind of there to take bullets for me while I run into a battle. Um, but I'm really excited to see what that's like and what they mean by that. But yeah, I remember seeing people like really pissed about it too. I think the only thing when I saw that, the only thing I thought was maybe at most, I thought the graphics and textures looked great, but I think maybe some of the lighting, and they actually did say there like the lighting is something that's drastically different. I just thought some of
Yeah.
the lighting looked a little weird. But they're like, yeah, that's something that was like where it's already like changed. I'm like, okay. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm really big on lighting in games. I'm weird like that. But um
It'll
yeah,
be.
I'm really excited. What else is gonna be there?
The fourth game is Our History Untold. That is the fourth confirmed game, which not my kind of game really. It's I forget what you call that kind of game. It's not RTS. Is it RTS? I believe it might be
Uh
RTS.
is it turn-based RT turn-based strategy
No,
game? Is it
I
a
don't. I don't even think it's. I think it's not even that. I'm wrong on that. It's like you building your own civilization. It's kind of like Civ
civilization?
Six. Yeah, Civilization. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Civ Six or whatever. People, whichever one they're on now, I can't remember. But yeah, it's kind of like that from what I understand of it. It's not my kind of game, but I do know that people are very very excited for that game.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like listen, I'll be interested to check it. You know what else is random that I'm probably gonna try playing, and I don't think I'll love it, but I'm gonna give it a shot just because it seems insane. Is that God? What's the name of it? The Pokemon with guns game.
Oh, I can't remember that thing's name. And Vinny's
Power,
like, we're like, oh, this kind of
Power.
look, yeah, well, this looks kind of interesting. He's like, it's gonna be fucking shit. I'm not saying I don't agree with them, but I was like, thanks, Vinny.
I just I just think that's such a because the thing missing with and Pokemon for me, like once I hit, I
Attitude.
don't know, yeah, like once I hit like 12 years old, the thing that was missing from Pokemon for me was I couldn't like there was no gun. I want a gun,
Yeah.
and if I can have a gun in Pokemon, then that's I mean I if it's good, I will absolutely play that. Unironically, I will happily play that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what that's about. But yeah, back to the developer direct. I think so. When do you think Avowed comes out? Because that's the final one.
That's absolutely hugging the end of the year. I
Okay.
do think Avowed is end of the year. Um
Okay.
um
So Hellblade for me, it's Hellblade, Indiana Jones, and then Avowed. Our History Untold. I have no idea when to expect that game.
I
I
didn't even
would.
know that game existed. I feel kind of bad about that. I mean, I
Oh yeah.
probably knew, but I can't remember a damn thing. There's so many games that come out like
Yeah,
every
they've
other day
shown it
that
a
it's
few times. They've shown it a few times, for sure. But I would. I mean, I feel like that would be a summer game. I don't know. Just again,
yeah.
gut feeling. Um, but yeah, I think it would go Hellblade, Indiana Jones, Our History Untold, and then Avowed. I could also see, and Ham brought this up on Wednesday when we were talking about. He could see them holding Hellblade, which would go against what Phil Spencer was saying about it coming sooner than you think. But he said he could see them holding Hellblade for the end of the year towards the Game Awards just for recency bias. And
Oh,
I could
God.
I could definitely see that being a thing. But then it raises questions: why the fuck did Phil Spencer say it's coming sooner than you think? If it's gonna come
Yeah.
in November or whatever.
It
But
depends on what he thinks soon is, I guess.
that's true. It depends on what
um,
he thinks we think,
yeah, exactly.
which will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, so for you, you have Indiana Jones first, right?
Yeah.
And then Hellblade. We'll just throw Our History Untold into the summer thing, and then Avowed at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
we're almost in agreement. Hellblade
Oh,
Avowed Hell, or Hellblade, Indiana Jones, Hellblade. So
mhm.
that's the developer direct. But moving on to, I want to talk a little bit about the whole third party rumors for Xbox.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah. I want to talk about that too.
because people are having full on meltdowns on
Yeah.
Twitter. Like, I've seen people like lose or seemingly lose friendships over this,
Yeah, dude,
which is
it's
nuts,
insane.
which is just nuts to me, because I'll give my stance, but before I do that, what how do you feel? Because this all starts, keep in mind, with rumors surrounding Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves possibly, maybe, coming to competing platforms. And then, of course, the whole community, like we always do, took it and ran with it and turned it into every game Xbox ever makes is coming to a competing platform. So, what are your thoughts on Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush maybe coming to PlayStation or Nintendo?
So here's my like initial like feeling or opinion or thoughts or whatever the correct terminology is. So as a person that primarily plays on PC, I don't care. Um, get more people to play games in general. It's always a good thing. However, I am kind of and I wish I brought up the quote by Phil Spencer because I was thinking about it. Just the podcast he was on, I believe, just a few months ago, where he's saying like, I wish when we announce a game, we don't have to go through the talk of is it exclusive or not. Um, you
Yeah,
know, and I kind of just think back to that quote, and I'm kind of like, which way did he mean that though? Is it exclusive or not? Is he meaning like should you care because you're a Game Pass customer? Or does he mean like no, you should know it's going to be only on platforms where Game Pass exists? Because he also said that quote as well.
yeah,
Um, as me as a person that like yeah, it's probably smart to get Sea of Thieves on everything that can play a multiplayer game. Hi-Fi Rush, I mean, I can see it making sense on the Switch, but at the same time, after hearing the quote of which him saying, you know, it's annoying, not annoying, but he doesn't like having to say like if a game's exclusive or not. It feels like it should be a given kind of a thing, and it's kind of like to me where I'm more so like I don't care if it is exclusive, that's fine. I mean, not I mean, multi-plat or whatever games go multi-plat, but I just kind of would like a little bit more consistent messaging on that front because I feel like Xbox keeps going in these cycles, news cycles, at least in its own fan base, where it's like, oh yeah, everything's exclusive. This is for places where Game Pass is this, and then there's a rumor that comes out that this game's once again only a rumor. That this is going there, here, or there, and then it completely goes against the quote what Phil or anybody else said, and it's like
yeah,
this constant like loop of what the fuck is going on. And a part of me is like, as someone that wants things to be multi-platform, like from a consumer standpoint or person that plays on PC, as much as I want it to be released everywhere, it is kind of a little annoying, when you hear Phil or someone else at Xbox say this, and then the exact opposite is done. Um, and
yeah,
I understand plans change rapidly. I totally get it, but it's kind of frustrating when it comes out of the literal head of the rather than someone a few steps down. Um, but I don't know, and hopefully, if it is true and it is coming out, they're a little bit more transparent as to why it's coming out there. You know what I mean? They don't just release it and then they just go run away and hide just release. You know what I mean? I think a
yeah.
little bit of communication would be nice because, like you said, people are literally going fucking nuts, like genuinely fucking nuts,
Yes.
and it's actually genuinely kind of scary how angry people are getting. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been wild. It's been wild to see how unhinged people get at the prospect of this being a possibility, not knowing whether or not that it is,
mm,
for sure. My whole stance, and I recorded a video that will be out tomorrow where I talk a little bit more about it. But my whole stance on this is, I I I really don't care. I genuinely do not care. And like I said in the video, I'll say it here as well. And that's not to like discredit anyone's feelings about how they feel. Like, because there's people who
We can't
I've
be
seen.
friends now, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, there's people who I've seen like react to an opinion like that with like severe toxicity, or like you just offended them or something. And I don't mean like I'm not trying to tell those people that they're
How to feel.
wrong. Yeah, that they're wrong for feeling how they feel. Like if you're someone who feels like you're taking the game, you're taking a game that's meant for us and putting it somewhere that's not us. Like it's not. Why are you doing that? And like I get that, especially if you're somebody who bought into the platform because of those games, and you're like, well, if I can play those games anywhere, then why'd I buy into the platform? Which and again, this you kind of mentioned it, but this happens every single year, dude. Every single year, there's a rumor something happens. There's a rumor that Xbox is going third party. And what's funny is it's gotten to the point this year that that's the rumor. Xbox is going third party when all it is Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. Like that was how this started. It's Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. No other information has come out. It's still just Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. But we in our heads went from this is just Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush to oh my god, every single game. They're now a third party. They're now a third party publisher, and it's
Mhm.
like they're not because even if Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush do come out on PlayStation and Switch or whatever, that I mean Halo, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, like Indiana Jones. We know Indiana Jones is exclusive because that was in court documents. That was actually in court documents. That was a part of the whole ABK thing. Like we know that's exclusive. Hellblade, Avow. I mean, we know these things are exclusive, but we just
Mhm.
we panic to we whenever like slightly negative news is part of the cycle for Xbox, everyone goes to the worst possible outcome. Everyone just always goes immediately to the worst possible outcome, and
Yeah.
I don't like for me personally. It's hard for me to get worked up about this until anything happens. And even if something does happen, like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves go to PlayStation or Switch, I don't care. Like them being
Yeah.
on PlayStation or Switch doesn't take away from my enjoyment of it on Xbox or PC or wherever I decide to play it. So it really doesn't bother me, especially for a game like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. Live service game for Sea of Thieves. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they put more of their live service games on other platforms. That really wouldn't shock me at all. And it would make sense money wise
Yeah.
for Microsoft. And Microsoft being a business, in fact, there's more news about that. I think they just overtook Apple as the most valuable business on the planet, on the fucking planet. So it's
Wasn't it only for
like,
like a day or something though? Wasn't that like only for
probably,
like a few hours? I can't remember the
probably,
full thing.
it probably was.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like them being like a multi-trillion-dollar business, they're making moves for money. Now, the only way I have an issue with any of these third-party
Mhm.
rumors is if we get to a point and they're like, hold on, Elder Scrolls now is on PlayStation. Well, then I'd be like, well, why is that? Because you literally said it's not. Or like the next Halo is on
Yeah.
PlayStation. Then I'd be like, okay, that's weird. Why are you doing that? Because those are games
I think
that
that's the only.
what's up?
Keep going. Sorry. No, keep going. I keep
No,
going. I'll say it after.
I'm saying like those are the games that are like your platform's identity even before this whole Bethesda thing back in 2020 with the purchase and everything. Like part of Xbox's identity obviously it was Halo. That was like their big
Mhm.
like massive IP, but you could argue Elder Scrolls was just as important for Xbox and just as important for like vice versa Bethesda and Xbox because whenever Elder Scrolls was developed, it was always developed with Xbox in mind. Everything else came
Yeah.
afterwards. What for better or worse, everything else came afterwards. So games like that, like those are your identity. Those are the things that help your platform identify itself from another platform. So it doesn't make sense to me to put Halo, to put Gears of War, to put Elder Scrolls 6, to put whatever, whenever the hell the next Fallout comes out. God knows when that shit's gonna be. Like that, like stuff like that makes sense to be exclusive. But like, I don't know, State of Decay, Sea of Thieves. Like if you want to put that on PlayStation, I really don't care. I really don't care at all. But that's just my personal take on it. Well, you were about to say something though. What were you saying?
So I think that's why some people are, I want to say, a bit crossed about it all. Is that I would argue, and I'm saying I still don't care. I play on computer, but that I would argue that Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush um are a part of the Xbox identity, or at least are becoming of one. At least Starfield. I'm
No, they
Starfield. I mean,
they definitely are. But the only reason I don't like Hi-Fi Rush is a little weird. But for Sea of Thieves, the only reason I don't consider that is because it's live service and because you
yeah.
want to make the most money you possibly can everywhere. For Hi-Fi Rush, I got to be honest, I think it's a little weird to bring that to another platform. I just don't care. But I look at that
Mm.
quite a bit differently than I look at Sea of Thieves.
I think, but well, you're right, and I feel basically essentially the same way. But I think that's why certain people are kind of like, all right, well, if you're gonna do this, and I think at the end of the day, it comes down to communication, in a new form of like, I think they need a, and I feel like it's kind of silly, but like, I feel like the fan base, I guess, needs this like this. I'm not saying it's, I'm not saying it's silly that they feel one way or another. I think it's silly for ending friendships over this, but that's a discussion for another time. Um, but I just think that maybe that I think people associate it with these games with the Xbox brand so much. Like Hi-Fi Rush was a smash hit on,
Yes, it
everyone played
was.
that. Everyone talked about it. It was on, it fantastically. It sold well. It even had like FUD rumors about it, and then the studio comes out saying how well it actually did, and I feel like people are kind of like, all right, why is that? You know, why is that going there? That's kind of like a very successful new Xbox IP. Why is this going there? It's like that. Does that mean Starfield's going to go there? Does that mean this is
Sure.
going to go there? And I think people are less like, I don't really give a shit about Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, and more so, what does this mean about Starfield? Is it going to go to PlayStation in 3 years, or 2 years? Is Elder Scrolls 6 going to go there,
Mm-hmm.
even though they said in the documents it's exclusive? I think really, once again, it just comes down to Xbox just needing to communicate just a little bit better on these things. If the rumor is even true, once again, this is just a fucking rumor. 99% of companies do not just like, oh, our consumers read, I mean, unless the rumor was damning, I mean, our consumers read a random rumor online that LG and Samsung are teaming up on, so and so's blog. We better make a public statement about this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um so it's kind of a weird situation that hopefully, if they're going to announce that, it'd have to happen on Xbox Direct, right? Like I'd imagine, but at the same time though, if it did, that'd be the most tone deaf shit ever at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
so I think more so than anything, if it does happen, they need to communicate as to why and what this means for the future. Um, Even
Definitely.
though I don't really care, personally. But I understand why some people are like, well, what's keeping Starfield from going over there? Why didn't I just get a PlayStation, just wait the extra 2 years? Even though the answer is so you get to play Starfield, 2 years in advance. It's why certain people don't get PCs, even though PlayStation games will eventually come there, because they don't want to wait the 2 years, and that's understandable, or a year or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think once again, just communication is key on this, and insiders being like, I heard this though, and it's like, once again, it'll be from an insider that was very, very, very wrong on the previous subject about the same game. Um, to the point that the studio might be shutting or all this crazy stuff. It kind of gets to the point where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna wait and I'll have a real reaction if it actually gets announced. Um,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, that's just kind of how I feel.
See, I don't. I just don't think Hi-Fi Rush is coming to PlayStation. I could be wrong. I
Yeah,
could be entirely wrong about that. And if I am, then hey, yeah, I'm wrong. But I genuinely don't think Hi-Fi Rush is coming to another platform. I think out of those two, Sea of Thieves is the likely one, and I think it makes the most sense, and I think it's probably a good idea, honestly. Um,
yeah,
like, because and Hi-Fi Rush, like you just said, opens up the question of if you can basically create a new mascot for Xbox, because that's essentially what they did with
yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush, is they made a wildly successful mascot for Xbox out of nowhere, pretty much. And then and suddenly now that's on another platform. Then surely you would be able to do that with Halo, with Starfield,
yeah,
with Elder Scrolls, with whatever Hellblade 2, with any of those. And it's like I I don't think Hi-Fi Rush goes to. I could see Hi-Fi Rush going to Nintendo, but I don't see that because Nintendo, like as much as it is really the big three, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. I don't think while they are competitors, I don't think Microsoft sees them as like we need to take down Nintendo. Especially not the way they see
yeah,
PlayStation after the whole situation with ABK and all the hell that PlayStation tried to drag them through to get that shit done. Like, I feel like that relationship, I feel like those two are now, if they weren't competitors before, they are solidified as competitors after that whole situation. Whereas
yeah.
Nintendo, I feel like,
Seriously,
is just. Nintendo can be buddy buddy with anybody. And I don't think it really
yeah,
matters. But yeah, I just until we see something that happened from this, it's hard for me to get worked up either way. But like, it's just with a live service game. If that's your thing, like if you just want to announce, hey, we're gonna be bringing live service games to all platforms that will support it, then by all means do it. If that's what you want to announce, do it and make your money. Because honestly, that's just more money that you guys make to put into, I would hope, more games and more content for those games
mhm.
in the future. So I'm happy if that's what you guys want to do. But yeah, it's just certain things I kind of feel like should be off limits. I feel like you got to draw boundaries with that because otherwise it does become, well, then why isn't everything everywhere?
Yeah.
So you do have to draw
Um,
very clear boundaries with what you're doing with that, and hopefully they are more precise about that. But it's just with Xbox, that's one of those things I'm not really counting on because, like I
yeah,
said, we do this every year. Last year, and it was Hi-Fi Rush last year also because Hi-Fi Rush came out, it was really successful, and then everybody was like, "Oh, it'd be really cool if we could play this on Switch." And then not long after that, you had some person saying that it actually wasn't really successful and that it might be coming to other platforms. And it's like, okay.
and it
And
might
then,
kill Xbox and make it
yeah,
fix the third party, and like,
yeah, it might be the
like
end of Xbox. It's like, dude, it, if we're gonna do this every year, then I'm gonna stop believing it until something happens. That's kind of where
yeah,
I'm at. And then once something
yeah. I'm
happens,
kind
then
of
then
done.
I'll reevaluate from there. But for me, like I mentioned this again, my video comes out tomorrow. I mentioned this like the reasons I'm on an Xbox as a platform is because one, the ecosystem. It's nice that I can buy a game on my Series X and I can pretty much count on the fact that the next generation, the generation after that, however many generations down the line, that game will work on whatever console that is at the time.
Yeah,
Because I can play an OG Xbox game on my Series X or my Series S right now. So that's one reason. It's the convenience of their ecosystem. Number two is because that's where all my friends are. Like even before I met you guys, when I was like way back when I was in school and stuff, like the way I met friends at school was like, oh, you play Halo also, or oh, you play Gears of War also. We should play Xbox. That's kind of how that all started. So like all my friends from school, the reason I know them and am friends with them is because we played those games together and we all played Xbox. So like that's a big reason I'm on
Yeah,
Xbox as well. And then the third thing would be Game Pass. Just the simple fact that like, you know, uh Hellblade or whatever, any insert any game really, can come out and I can be like, I want this game, but I'm gonna wait for a sale. But I don't need to buy it now to play it. I can just pick it up on sale
yeah,
physically at a later date, which is nice. And you figure if Xbox really wants to hit that,
which is nice. Absolutely.
yeah, if Xbox really wants to hit that game every quarter like goal that they're talking about and Phil Spencer keeps talking about, then you figure 4 games a year, and that's just first party. That's not counting things like A Plague Tale that dropped. That was probably my game of the year in 2022. And that's also not counting something like Atomic Heart. That's also not counting, what's the thing coming? Stalker 2 coming this year.
Oh
Stuff like
yeah.
that. So it's like when you add that together with the first party, I'm saving just first party alone, those 4 games, at least $300 a year. So it's
Yeah.
that's a good deal for me. So that's like those are the 3 reasons I'm really into the Xbox ecosystem as a whole. And you know all about that because I can play it
Well, it's
on.
because you're a bot.
Yeah,
Kidding.
it is. Well, yeah, it's because I'm a full blown Xbot. But it's cross saves as well because I can play Starfield on my PC and then go to my bedroom and play it on my Series S, or I can play it in here on my Series X, and I can transfer that save across all those different things, and it's super easy and convenient. It's not very difficult at all to do. It does it automatically. So yeah, I mean, I we'll see. I don't like. I just don't think anything
Yeah.
is going to come from this. I think it'll be another one of those round of rumors that just comes. People forget about it, especially once the developer direct hit. I think once that hits, people are going to forget about it. It's going to be out of the news or zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it, and then we'll just rinse and repeat next year.
Conversational loop.
Yes, and we'll just rinse and repeat next year and the year after that and every year after that
See you
until the end
next
of
year for the
time.
same conversation, guys.
Exactly. So, but that's
We'll just re-upload this stream next time it happens.
exactly. We could probably do that honestly, and people probably wouldn't know. We'll have to maybe throw in some new. Shit. Yeah. Well, finals will still be hitting next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We could probably run this whole thing again. Never. Nobody would
Yeah.
ever know.
Hopefully.
Nobody would ever know. But yeah, that's the topics. Unless there's anything else that you want to talk. I thought I had a third one that I thought I brought it up, but I can't find it. I don't know where that's at. But we did go. I mean, we did go
Um,
longer than I thought we would.
Nothing
We went
much. I was
about an
going to talk
hour.
about how like true we did. Um, I honestly don't think there's really much worth talking about. I mean, I had like some emergency like topics, you know what I mean, just in case we blew through like the like PlayStation players apparently mostly playing only single player games, shocker.
It's a big
Um
surprise.
Stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't really think of much else. I'm gonna just like look at my list real quick because I feel like I saw one thing that really caught my eye.
Go for it.
Um, I thought the whole thing like that is so funny. Um, the whole Capcom adding DRM to their old games. Um,
I saw they reversed that, or at least
um,
for one game in particular. I can't remember what, but there was like a huge backlash, and they started review bombing a game. Might have been Resident Evil 4 remake, honestly. Uh, but they started review bombing it, and they like took it back
it might have
immediately.
been if some games started to have real performance suffering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very
Some of
big
those games
issue.
had real performance drops. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, honestly, you know what, man? I think we had a good show. I feel kind of I think our audio is honestly a little desynced because I feel like sometimes you're replying to something I say like 5 seconds after I say it, but on the stream it
Yeah,
doesn't seem
I
that
just
weird.
noticed. I just noticed that.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know, but hey, we'll get out of
This
here
is
anyway.
weird. Okay,
It,
get us
it'll
out of
it'll
here.
it'll fix itself. We'll get out of here, and we will see y'all next week. But thank you all for watching. Actually, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow for the video, and then Wednesday for the two-player podcast with Ham Solo. So look forward to that. And then next week, obviously, the game drain with me, Mike, and Twan. Hopefully, Twan's back next week. We will see about that. I did get a message from Twan. He was at the movies. Twan was at the movies watching a movie. But yeah, we'll be back next week. So
Canada doesn't have movies.
no, they shouldn't. Honestly, they should ban those. Honestly, in Canada. But we'll see you guys next week. Thank you all for watching. Peace.